Okay, great. All right. Okay, so previous camp we used to cover the UFT, which is a different tool. Okay, but starting with this camp, we are going through the different tool, which is getting more popular as well. So UFT was a different tool. I mean, it's plus the issue is it's not supported on a lot of Windows 11 machine anymore. So you can't really install on Windows 11, the version that we were teaching. So it is having some issues. So, but it is fine. It's automation is automation. You guys will work through it, understand the concept, understand some of the features for the Katalon Studio and so forth. So in your binder, you will see Katalon Studio, not the UFT. All right, so let's understand what the automation is, right? And by definition, we all know what is automation. It's a use of tools and strategies, right, that reduce the human intervention. Okay, for anything that reduces the human intervention, that's considered automation. So kind of like a Tesla's auto self-driving car, right? That's automation. You are driving manually, now you have some software that can drive the car. So that is automation. Okay. So everybody good with the definition? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna flip back to our old good notepad. Okay. And understand where in the QA world, what the automation means, right? And where does it apply from our standpoint. So I'm gonna start with the phases again. Can anybody tell me what are the different phases? Planning, analysis, okay. Analysis and requirements, right? Okay. Then what? Design, okay. I'm glad you guys are remembering. Implementation, yes. Implementation / coding, right? I'm just gonna put that. Testing. You guys are better than other batches. Okay. Testing, what else is there? Testing and maintenance. Okay, user acceptance. Or UAT, right? User acceptance, testing, whatever, maintenance. Okay. All right. Right, maintenance and support or maintenance, same thing. So planning, now you need to, hopefully you remember what are the QA activities that you do. Anything? No, nothing. I'll just put nothing, right? Okay. No. I mean, QA, you don't do anything, right? Because you don't even exist. Okay, what about analysis and requirements? Review, plus what else? Start creating test plan, right? Test plan. And as part of the test plan, high-level test scenarios, you review requirements, you come up with a big picture. What are the environments that you need? Start defining those, okay, for testing purpose. How many cycles and so forth. Right. Okay, what about design? Review, right? You do review, plus start creating test plan or start completing or complete test plan. How about complete test plan? Okay. Okay, what about implementation coding? So test scenarios plus test case. Now, what is that you do when you say test scenarios and test case? So you are documenting, right? Document or plan, test case, test scenarios, document plus plan, right? So in detailed documentation, whether you use Jira, DevOps, Azure, who cares? I mean, you have to repeat the same activity. Okay. Okay, what about testing?
All types of testing.
Well, but what is that you activity is called, right? Execution, right? Test execution plus what else? Testing side. As a QA, what you do? So you, as part of the execution, what defects management, right? Defect management plus test execution, right? Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll leave it there. It's fine. I think defect management, test execution, it is okay. Okay, UAT. Anything?
The final level of testing, stakeholders.
So let's say business user testing, right? That's the business user. So you do test support to users plus anything else. What about any defects that comes in? Right? So that's a defects management. Because user may not know how to create defects, they may not have access to all these tools. And so you help support defect management as well. Those two activities. You will always find defects. That's your job. If there is no defect, you don't exist. Okay. They say, oh, we don't need QA. So you need to find defects. Yes. Okay. And finally, here maintenance. So any production issues or defects or somebody discovers, you probably will help defect management. You're not going to test anything. Okay. You never test in production. That's the first rule. It's the users reporting the defects to you. And you will say, okay, let us create the defect for it and fix it, patch it, and see if we can fix it. Otherwise, we'll send it to the next cycle of software release. Okay. All right. So when we talk about automation, right? So tell me, where do we do automation here? You don't do anything, right? There is nothing there. How about this page? Analysis.
No, I think automation.
Okay, so this one, nothing, no automation, no NA, right? I'm just with no automation. That's the short form. Okay. NA here, review complete test plan, NA. How about here? NA here. Okay, when you say automation here, right? Oh, we'll come back to that. How about some automation? Automation here. Okay, I'm just saying automation. Okay, putting A. How about here? Can you automate here? Do you do anything there in the UAT? You don't do anything, right? So there is nothing for you to automate at that point. In the defect management, again, I'm putting it now for NA. So if you look at it, your day-to-day activities and your engagement in the projects and so forth. So you are doing all these activities. There is no automation here. Only automation you can do is the test execution. Now, why you do that? Why you want to apply the automation here? What is the reason? Anybody? I mean, you can do automation, but what's the purpose? Right.
Maybe what I feel that there will be lots and lots of test cases and less time.
Is that the reason? A lot of test cases. I mean, is that the reason you are applying automation?
Yeah, if you do mainly you want
less defect management, less defect.
Okay, what percent time? Yes, go ahead.
The defect management time, the W test and all those.
Okay, so
You made like error.
well, so to think about it, right? I mean, you are executing the test cases.
Yeah, I think the regression testing or somewhere like when fixing one bug, if we need a lot of again and again testing the same thing, automation will help.
So by definition, right? You are applying the automation if it's a repetitive task. Okay, that is the definition. So anything that you are repeating over and over again, you probably might end up doing the automation work because there is a lot of manual intervention and people get tired as well. I mean, doing the same thing over and over again, right? So that's the reason this is a phase you can apply some automation. Okay, again, I'm not saying when people say manual testing is no longer needed. Now, if you look at here, the activity wise, This is part of your manual testing. Okay, so and 80% of the work or 90% of the work that you do is still manual testing. A requirement analysis, all these activities that you are doing, it's a human brain. You cannot replace the analysis part with the automation, right? So testing wise, yes, you can, there are repetitive test cases, regression test cases. That's where you can apply the automation. And that's where most of the tools are. Okay. And that's the only part you can do automation on. So I'm going to put automation, specifically regression testing. Okay. Specifically regression testing. Because when you do, I mean, you still have to write the test cases and all those things, test scenarios. But when you're executing over and over, you might think, okay, I'm getting tired. Why do I execute 50 times? These guys are not fixing bug properly and so forth. Okay. So make sure you understand this concept when you, what time or what phase you apply. And is every scenario is a good scenario or not? Now, when we take a look at the Ruby Cucumber, some concepts next week. And I'll show you, it's a little bit different, but there's again, still manual testing is still there. Okay. It's just that it's a different techniques that you apply on the agile projects for certain things. But again, you still have to do a lot of manual testing. Okay.
When people look like we are looking for Java, Selenium, I think they obviously want you to like you know manual and.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah. It's if you can't.
Like you need people with 1 year Java.
Well, I tell you, recruiters are stupid. Okay, yeah. Recruiters, they don't understand anything about technology or anything about what you really do. So they go by the keywords on the resumes and say, hey, it's an automation tester job. And they say, oh, do you have Selenium? Do you have Ruby? Okay. But where's your manual testing experience? It's not there. They will still put you through. And or they might say, oh, you don't have certain things on the resume. But
automation is not possible.
Yeah. That is correct. That is correct, right? And all the tools that you learn, now you can see where those fits in your process, right? Because all these activities that you are doing here, analysis, requirements, that happens in those using those tools. You're going to document all your test cases there, and then start creating automation at the same time. Okay. Specifically in the agile projects, which we will talk, how do you apply the Ruby Cucumber, where those things comes into play. So today we'll focus on the regression testing type of activity, right? And that's where there are a lot of tools in the market. Let me see if I have a slide for the tools.
So do we need to learn all kind of tools?
You don't need to learn all kind of tools. Nobody knows everything, including me. So you don't need to learn all kind of things, but you just pick up specific things and then you go out in the market. Okay. And then you have to keep learning. One thing in IT is you cannot stop learning. Okay. If some new tool comes in, you have to pick that up to go. Depending on the company and client. Okay. That's how it works in IT. Okay. So I don't have the specific slide here. Let me see if I can pull that up quickly. Give me a second. Trying to find it earlier. Oh, I think let me go to the Google Drive here. Give me a second, because I do want to give you that idea as well before we dive into the actual automation. Trying to see how this is.
So which tool mostly?
Yes, yes. So I'm not able to find the slide, but let me go over here and let's see what tools are used. Right? So tools. Okay. So let's talk about the Uft Qtp. Okay, that's the first tool. So again, this tool works very similar to the Katalon. Okay, just from that, the Uft Qtp is from Micro Focus Cobalt, a different company. But it works so very similar to Katalon, what you're gonna see here. Okay. Now this tool is very expensive. Katalon is expensive as well. If you look at the licensing, it's about $1,800 per license per person in the company. This tool is more like $5,000. A lot of companies have big investment in this because this tool came out very early back in early 2000s, and a lot of companies started building automation test on that. Like Nationwide, they have a huge investment in Uft. Last 5 years they stopped. Okay, they don't build any new tests on this one, but they still have the older one. So until they retire the software or rewrite it, that automation test will be there. Okay, for Uft. So this one is still being used by on the older projects and older software and so forth. Okay, but Nationwide is one of the company that uses this tool here. Second one, obviously you heard about the Selenium and the water. Again, they both, and you probably heard about the Ruby Cucumber, right? Now, these tools are specifically, now, first of all, the cost wise, right? So this is like 5,000 plus, right? Per seat license, so per person. Now, Ruby Cucumber, Selenium Water, again, these tools are used by a lot of companies here. The reason is that it's free. It's free. Okay, the technology stack is free. You don't pay $0 to basically use these tools and build your automation test. So when the free comes, right, free word, so our eyes pops out, right? We all know sale. Right. So $0 is a cost. Now there is some cost, so you still have something, right? There's another thing called RubyMine IDE. Okay, RubyMine. Again, RubyMine, you can use Eclipse as well. Eclipse is free, but these are development IDEs. So RubyMine, and we'll talk next week what that is, and I'll show you what it is. But again, you can use that to build the complete automation test from scratch. Now, what is Ruby? So programming. So in order to use this technology stack, you need to learn the Ruby programming, which is programming. So
the Eclipse is now related to Katalon, or what? Katalon one is showing Eclipse.
No, it's built on top of Eclipse. I guess that's what it is, but you are not using Eclipse. But here, this is a technology stack, and we'll talk next week what these things are and so forth. But again, it's a $0 cost. A lot of companies, so Nationwide, okay, so they started moving to Ruby, this technology stack, Huntington, NetJets, and a lot of companies. Okay, they use this technology stack because there is not much cost to. All they have to do is train their QAs to have specialized QA in the company, which knows this technology stack and start implementing on the project. Okay. So we'll learn more next week on that. Hopefully that gives you overview. Okay, I'm not gonna go in any detail because you don't know programming, so you can't understand much. But I'll give you some 1,000-foot view. Okay, what this is and how it fits in. So that is the second one. There is another tool. So obviously Katalon is there, right? So Katalon, Uft, both are similar. So there is not much difference. This is getting very popular these days as well. A lot of companies are going for this. Again, the licensing cost is, if you check on their website, it's about $1,800 for enterprise license per seat. Okay, it's not that crazy, like 5,000, but again, there is some licensing cost. But but this tool is fairly new in the market. They came out, I think, 3 years ago as an open source tool, meaning they started as a free, but for enterprise, they started charging some money on it. But it's very flexible and very easy to use. That's what I found. Okay, UFT is kind of like a tedious. There is a tool from Microsoft. What is that? What's the name of that tool? Okay. But there is a tool from Microsoft. Again, you need C# programming to basically implement that. And then you can apply the Cucumber side of things. So C#, Cucumber, that's a technology stack that you can apply on the tools. Okay. Plus there are specialized tools. So APM is another tool. It's for use for mobile testing only. Mobile testing, APM is another tool that you can use it, and so forth. Now, why companies want to use UFT, Katalon, while something is available free, right, in the market? So this technology stack works for certain kind of applications only. Okay, so Ruby, Cucumber, Selenium, Water, Ruby Mine. This is for web-based applications only. So web-based, and now they started coming out with supporting some mobile apps and so forth. Okay, so this tool works very well with the web-based apps. Now in the enterprises, like 90% of the apps are they building, they are kind of like a web-based application supported in the browser. Okay, but as you know, there are other kind of applications in the market. So you have web-based applications. About 90% of new applications built today they are web-based. Means accessible over internet, browser-based. Okay, that's what it means. Kind of like Katalon, it is a web-based application. But then you have Windows-based application, Windows-based or thick client. It is generally, so this is generally called thin client. You will hear this terminology, thin client apps application. Okay, Windows-based or thick client application, and the people still build it. They are generally 10% or around that range. Not many companies do the investment in the thick client anymore.
Windows-based means like based.
So Windows-based is like you are installing certain things like Katalon Studio, right? You install on your machine, but it's not accessible over internet. So that is your like Microsoft Office. Now, if you are running Microsoft Office 365, that is kind of like you can call it web-based application, or like a Google Docs. Google Docs is a web-based, but you install the Microsoft Office on your machine. That is available only to your machine. That's a Windows-based application. So
Earlier days it used to be
Windows-based, yeah. Earlier meaning, yeah, before internet came out, yeah. So it was all Windows-based or some terminal-based and mainframe type of apps.
Still it's there.
Oh yeah, they are those apps. People made investment over the years, right? They can't get rid of it. System takes those are complex systems, yeah. But nobody new ones. I'm talking about new ones, okay? So not new applications being built are, you will see like 80 to 90% are web-based, right? Now, mobile apps, right? Third one is mobile apps. Again, percentage-wise, if I have to say, okay, 10% of the companies, they do mobile work. So they build there. So 90%, 10%, 10%. I mean, I can reduce down to 80% just to sum it up, right? But again, mobile-based apps are there. That again, 10% of the company will there. Then you have web APIs or APIs, right? What is a web API? Right? So it's application programming interfaces, and what did we learn? Web API. SOAP or REST, right? So these are web services accessible over internet. These are nothing but web APIs, right? So now some tools basically, and most of the applications, I would say 80% of the apps will have web API. Okay. Web API these days. So you can classify the applications like this in 4 different categories. Now, when we talk about the tools, so Ruby Cucumber, what does it support? Web-based applications. You can do web API and maybe some mobile, but you cannot do Windows-based application testing using SOAP UI, using Ruby Cucumber, Water. Okay. Now, who can do that? What tools supports this? So that's where the Uft Qtp comes in. They also support Windows-based application. Okay, so they do other works, but they also support Windows-based apps. Okay, same thing. Katalon does everything whatever Ruby Cucumber can do, plus do Windows-based. Windows plus mobile, plus whatever. So web API plus web-based. They support all the 4 different categories. Yeah, all 4 categories. Okay.
So then it's important to.
So this one again, Uft Qtp, same thing, right? They support all 4. Okay. APM is specifically for mobile testing. Okay. So you can see, right, why companies want to pay $5,000, right? Because Windows-based app, if they have a heavy investment, they want to use certain other tools along with the Ruby Cucumber, maybe free ones. Maybe have some specialized QAs that can focus on Windows testing. Okay. There are so many tools in the market. Okay, you're gonna hear so many terminals, but you need to look at it. Okay, what is supported? Can it support everything? And then if they are supporting everything, yes, they're gonna charge some money. So that's where the Katalon comes in, right? So $1,800 per seat license cost, supports everything. Whatever the SOAP UI did, web API testing, right? Whatever SOAP UI did, Katalon can do it as well. Okay, same thing Uft Qtp can do, SOAP UI, and for Postman, you can build those tests here. Now, SOAP UI, Postman, they are open source and free tool, right? That's the reason we wanted you to learn that. Now, again, same thing you can do in the Katalon, but Katalon requires license to do certain things. Including in the free version, I don't think it's available. Okay, there are free version, what you install does not have certain capabilities. So you cannot do all different kind of testing and so forth. Okay, but we will take a look at the web-based testing using those tools today, because that's the 90% of the new work. Okay. All right. So any questions? So we talked about when you apply this testing and what tools are in the market and what categories they apply on, right? So let me dive into the actual tool now. Now you have hopefully you have some basic understanding of these things. Okay.
So the mobile testing can be done also in Katalon.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah, it supports everything, all 4, and I'll show you what you will see that those are supported. But you can do only limited things with the free tools.
For APM and all, you can do everything in mobile testing.
Yeah, mobile testing, APM came out it was one of the earlier tool for the mobile testing. Yeah, but as I said, they might have added more capabilities, which I'm not familiar with, but I know they for fact that they are good with the mobile testing. Okay. So Microsoft tool, right? So a lot of government agencies here, okay, local government like state of Ohio agencies. So they have like what 40+ agencies here. They use Microsoft tools. Plus some stacks, they started using this technology stack as well, Ruby Cucumber, and Selenium, and so forth. But I have not seen Uft Qtp in any of the agencies or anywhere they use. All right, so let's understand what it means and work through that. Did I close Zoom? Is Zoom? Oh, okay. Those guys are still there. I was wondering, did I close out or what? All right, then any question on anything? Anybody online has anything?
No. So far
Okay.
is good, sir.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
Good morning. So these are only government companies.
Which one?
So first company.
No. There are so many companies that I don't know, right? I mean,
Oh.
the one that I'm telling you is somebody I know who uses these tools. But there are thousands of companies out there. I mean, who cares? It's sky's the limit, right? In the US. So, but those companies use some kind of tool, and it could be one of them, could be other tools out there in the market. But as I said, you need to, depending on company and client, where you end up, you have to pick up new things. So, but as long as you are able to explain, hey, what is automation testing? What type of things you can do with the automation? And if you know the programming, you can help them a little bit better because they are looking for flexibility these days, right? If you know one programming language, you can pick up different one. Like a Katalon, so Ruby Cucumber is Ruby is a one programming, but Katalon is built on top of Groovy programming. And I'll show you what it looks like. What is a Groovy programming as well? But you don't need to. I mean, using these tools, it will generate the things for you. Okay, generate the script for you. But if you know a little bit programming, then you can easily modify, troubleshoot any issues and so forth. Okay, so let's see what we have so far, right? So I'm going to go back in the tool now, actual. And I think most of you have installed or at least downloaded, unzipped. So I don't want you to touch it right now. Okay, so let's focus here and see if we can, if I can show you something quick. Okay, so wherever your folder is, right? That's where I'm going in. And I have this Katalon application within that folder. Or in order to open this, obviously you need to double click on it. Now here on my machine, it prompts me for this thing. Okay, it says application isn't certified by Microsoft. Are you still want to open? Yes, I'm going to click on install anyway. Okay, yeah, we might have to install it as well. So give me a second. Once we take a break, then I'll get you that laptop. Okay, but you need to have account, so you might have to go through setup process. Okay, yeah. It's just that you still need to download the software on that laptop that I'm going to. Okay. All right, so let's pay attention here. So for you guys, I don't think you have anything here, right? So let me go and create something different. Obviously, it says 25 days remaining for license because it's a trial software with the full feature. Okay. That's what we have. Now, if you click on upgrade now, it will take you to the payment where you have to pay $1,800. Okay, if you want to pay. So, all right. So first thing, again, it works very similar to the SOAP UI. You have a project where you can basically start a bunch of things. Okay. So let me go and create a brand new project. So I'm going to click on File New, and I'll say Project. This is the first thing you have to do. Now, as soon as you do that, it will prompt you what type of project you are going to create. Again, as I said, it supports all these different things: desktop, mobile, API, web service, web, and all those things. But we are focused on web search testing here. You can play around on your own time. API web service testing. You have the sample services. You should be able to go and create the test case for it. Okay, but we'll focus today on web only, because that's what the 90% of the work that you're gonna be doing anyway. So let me just give you some simple name, Rflown. Okay, it says already exists. I might have just gonna put some Rflown demo. Okay. Now here this particular, if you want to use the built-in templates, so it comes with certain template. Okay, but for you, just leave it blank. We're not going to use any template that already comes with the tool. We're going to build from scratch so that we understand what it is. This location, you don't have to change it. But if you want to create your test somewhere else or store somewhere else, you can change the directory for this so that all your tests are stored somewhere else. So I'm just going to put this, you don't have to change it on your machine. Let me leave it default. Okay, I'm just going to leave it, but you can play around on your own. And finally, you want to provide some description of the project, you can do that, and so forth. These two are for if you want to check out all your tests or the project into some central repository for the code, like Azure DevOps, right? You can check in the whole generated code into the DevOps or Jira or something. This is specifically for the Git libraries, or check in your code to the Git. And let's not worry about those things. You can leave those things default for now. Okay. And so forth. So only thing what we are doing is give a project name and you are good. You don't have to change anything. Okay. So let me go and click that. So it will take a minute or two. All right. Now this screen is, this part is annoying, so I'm gonna say minimize it so that I can see what's there. Okay. Now, hopefully this is how it should look like on everybody's. So let's see what this one is, right? What it gave us. So on the left side, you're gonna see a bunch of things that you have. And you're gonna see the menu items at the top. This is important. Okay, so I'll go over these items as well. But first of all, the automation, because we are opening this tool for automation test. So in order to do that, you need to have a test case created for automation. Okay, so there is nothing there. This is the way you can expand collapse. Wisty type of thing, greater than or whatever, right? Expand collapse. Expand collapse. Make sure you learn that, okay? Because I know some of you will struggle saying, "Oh, where is my things? I don't see it." Make sure you can click on it. Expand collapse. Okay, we have said it, so that's what I'm pointing it out. Okay, in the past, some basic things you need to pick up, right? Okay, so your test case. So first of all, you need to create a test case here. So let's come back to our old good notepad and let's see what we want to test. So we will start with a simple test case, and I'll ask you guys steps. So if I'm, let's say we are validating a simple login scenario for a super user. This is our scenario. I'm just validating this. Hey, super user can log in successfully into the site. So what would be my test case here if I'm writing manually?
Go to the login page.
Go to the login page.
Home page.
Home page. Okay. So first of all, you need a browser, right? So you need a browser. So I'm just going to put whatever you do manually, right? I'm just simulating what exactly we are doing. So open a web browser and go to our flow site, whatever site is, right? But you need to provide some test data, right? What is your expected? I am on our flow site, our flow homepage. Okay, that's what we meant, right? Earlier. Okay. Now what? Log in as a super user. Okay. With super user credential. That's fine. I assume that this precondition is there. Okay. And then so log in as a super user with super user credentials. Now what? So let me break it down here a little bit further. Log in as what is it? Test training, or say input. let's not go with the logical steps. I'm gonna say input, test training in login box, input training in the password. Okay, and then finally click on login. Okay, so I'm just breaking down to what you should be writing. Okay, so this is whatever, input successful, whatever, right? This one, input successful. Okay, and then what is the important step? My final step is always important. So what are you verifying? Super user logged in. Now, how can you tell super user is logged in? Okay, so I mean, it's gonna load for everybody, right? Homepage. But how can you tell it's a super user?
You have access to
It's the admin.
So let me go back here. rflown.azurewebsites.net. Let's just go there. Okay, first time it takes some maybe 10 seconds. Okay, test training. I'm just following our own manual test case steps. Yep, click login. Okay, so I'm on the home page. So if you are doing manual testing, what would you verify on this page so that you can say it's a super user homepage?
It has a management for everything, like user, dealer.
User, dealer, lender management, all these things. Is this something that's unique about the super user homepage? How about this one, right?
Yes, I do.
You see this button or link, whatever it is, and you can say, yep, it's a admin homepage. If I log in as a lender, I'm not going to see those things. So you need to think it through that way, right? What makes it pass or fail, right? So if I see admin homepage, yep, I see it, and that's what I'm going to verify. Okay, super user logged in, and admin homepage is button is visible, right? So this what two things you can verify. Okay. So if we are automating this test case, how do we automate using the tool? That's what we want, right? That's what exactly why we are using the tools. If I'm executing this thing 50 times, how can I do that within the tool? Okay, so let's go back to the tool here. Let me close out the browser windows and all those things. Okay. All right, so I'm in the Katalon. Let's see how we can do that, right? With the simple thing. Let's see a different one. Do I have multiple open? No, yeah. Okay, so test case. So this is what you are creating in the test case. I'm going to right click on the test cases because this is our test case. That's what we are creating. Right click and it shows new, and then you will see there are two options, folder and test case. So folder is also important. If you want to organize your test case for different functionality, you can create a folder and then you create a test case. So let me go ahead and create the folder first, but you can simply create a test case as well. Okay, so I'm going to create a one folder. It's just like Windows folder. You create a folder, organize your things. And here I'm saying login. I'm just going to put login, something like that. Okay, so it has a folder which is a different symbol than the actual test case. Now I'm going to select the folder, then click on new. Right click basically. Okay, new test case. You can create folder within folder all the way. You can organize however you want. But now I'm going to create a test case saying super user login. Okay. So that's my test case name. All right. So as soon as I create it, again, it's a different things, right? And I'm seeing different things here. Okay. But this part is very important because this is where your test case will be, all the different steps will be, and so forth. That it opens up this things at the bottom. Okay, so let me go to the, right now we are on the manual testing. So these are different tabs. Okay, so if I click on this variable tab, it pops up different window. If I click on data binding, it pops up different thing, integration, properties, and the script. I want you to see the script as well. Right now, nothing is there, but this is actual programming code that is being generated here. As I said, this is a Groovy programming language. Okay, so if I go to the page again, and if you type in groovy.org, or Groovy programming, groovylanguage.org. Okay. Not groovy.org. So you can see it's from Apache. It's an open source language, meaning there is no cost to use it. But you can take a look at that whenever your time, if you want to learn advanced some of the things, what those things are. But as I said, it requires some programming language knowledge. Okay, so if you know one language, you can easily understand second one as well. So it's a no-brainer to pick up all these things, basically. How to download, how to install. So there is a separate site for Groovy. But since you don't know programming, right? That's the whole point. That's the whole point. You are using this type of tools. Now, this tool is specifically codeless automation tool. Codeless. So you don't have to write a single line of code yourself. Same thing, Uft, it's a codeless automation tool. Okay. So these tools, you don't have to, that's why they charge $700, $1,700 or $1,000, $500, whatever, $5,000 and so forth. Well, there is a code, but you don't need to know the coding in order to use these tools. So that's why it's called codeless automation tools. Okay. All right. So how do we go codeless? Because we don't know programming. So I'm going to come back to the manual here. Right. So super user login, that's our test case. Nothing is here. That's empty. We haven't done anything. So we'll stop on the left side here. That's fine. But let's talk about what is at the right and what's important. So the way the codeless automation tool works is there is something called record. So you can record whatever you are doing manual testing wise. Okay, you can follow the same steps. So what I did, if I had to test our test case, I open a browser, go to the Arflon, I go to input, I'm going to input this thing and then click on it, and then I'll verify these two items. Okay, so in how I'm verifying, you looking at the admin homepage. So the way it works is this red button, it says record web, right? This green button is a spy web. And I'll talk about spy web a little bit later. Okay. So, but this is a record web. There are other things, spy mobile. If you are working with the mobile app, you can do spy mobile, record mobile. Again, those record web and mobile also have similar record web and spy mobile, or whatever, record mobile, spy mobile. This one is again spy window, record window. Okay. So because this tool works on all four different different things, you have different things. But these two are important because we are dealing with the web-based app. Record web, spy web. Okay, so how do we automate these steps? So I'm going to click on record web. Okay, first thing it will say, what is your website that you are dealing with? And I'll say, so you can type in, I already have, so for you, it will be some other demo website. Okay, it will show some demo dot some other site, but you can erase that and you can type in arflon.azurewebsites.net because that's what we are testing. Okay, and this, there is a button there, record. There are other things. It says which browser. Chrome is by default recommended one, so you leave it there. You don't need to change anything. So you input the URL and click on record. Okay, so let's see what happens. So now what happens is it actually opened the browser for you and started recording the script for you. Now I can see everything is highlighted. So what the tool does is if you input something or if you click somewhere, it captures all the actions. Okay, that's what the record part is. So let's do our simple test so that you understand what it's doing, right? So I'm going to click on this input, just like manual testing, whatever you're doing. That's training, and I'm going to click on it, login. Okay, let me come back here and I'm going to stop recording for now. It's a screen recorder, kind of like think it that way, but it will capture all the actions. And I'll explain you the mechanism, how it does it, because you need to understand how it does it, and so forth. So at this point, I'm done with my test case. Am I done? Let's see if I'm done or not, right? I'm saying that I'm done. So I'm going to close my browser. Okay, and I'm going to stop recording. Okay, so it pops up another window, right? Because it's captured all the actions for you. Okay, and I'm going to simply click on save script. If you don't click on save, nothing will be imported in your test case. Okay, make sure you follow stop recording and the save script. Or you can do one or another action. Okay, so here we did 3 actions on 3 different buttons or the 3 different actions, right? What these things are, I'll show you what these things are. Okay, so for now, just click on OK. We'll come back to this. So now let's take a look at here. So what it did, open browser, right? Then navigate to URL. It automatically captured this particular. So it opened the browser, navigate to URL, set text. And then it set text into as a string, set encrypted text into password, and whatever the password is, click login and then close the browser. These are the action I did. So that's what it captured. Now, do you guys know what these things are? Or how do I know what these things are? Right? Set text. What is this? Input username CTL 000, blah, blah, blah. So let's go back to here. Chrome. Because you need to understand what those things are, right? So here, this is a username, this is the input box. So I'm going to right click on there, right click on the input box, username, say inspect. Okay. So it will take me to this control, and it's look at here. So this is the name. This is HTML. Okay, this is HTML now. It says input name is equal this, type is equal text. So that's how I know it's an input box. Okay. Then ID is equal CTL 00 main content and text user. Okay. So what it does is every control has an ID and name here. So let's compare with what you got here. So username CTL 00 main context username. So what it did automatically for you, it uses ID to identify that object uniquely within the browser. Okay, that's how it needs to know. So it captures the ID. So next time when you run it, it will find the control because it needs to know where to go and input the text. Okay, so it will look at this ID and then it will start input setting the value as string. Same thing for password. Password CTL 00 main context txt password. So if I go to the password, right click on it, inspect, and I'll see here CTL 100 main context text password. Okay, so that's how it knows what those fields are. Okay, and now what is input underscore username, right? This because we see only this part, last part. So when it captures the information, so now I'm going under object repository. Okay. So object repository has a page, home page, and it has 3 fields here. So if I go to the password, let me open what this looks like. And if I open this particular input text CTL00, it points to CTL100 main context password. So whatever the ID was specified that control, it is basically input password is pointed to that particular ID in there. Does it make sense, or you guys are lost here? Okay, so it has to store all the objects, whatever you are interacting with on the browser as part of your test case. Okay, so let's come back here. So whatever action you are doing, it captures the properties of those objects and stores into repository at the end, basically. So it captures this username text box, password text box, login button, and whatever you have any other action. So it needs to find these 3 objects and store it into repository. So when you run the test case, or when you execute the automation test case, it will open a browser, but it needs to interact. Okay, what text box I need to input that as training value into. So based on the ID, it will go and input the values here. So let's come back. Let me get rid of this. So I'm going to delete this guy. Okay, so that we will understand what's happening now. So yes to all. I'm going to delete my test case here. So now we have a little bit more. We'll see how it works. So now I'm going to click new login, new test case. Again, I'm going to give same name, super user login. And let's pay a little bit more attention this time. Okay. Hang on, give me a sec. So when I created, okay, let's try again. Test case, super user. Okay. Right now it's empty, right? So we need to make sure we click on record. Okay, because it's empty test case we created, placeholder. Now we'll click on record. If you do first time, then you don't have to keep typing the same website name again. It will capture it automatically. Okay, so now you type in the website address and click on record. So you have to click record twice, right, in this window. So it comes here. Now I whatever objects I'm interacting with, it's considered objects. Okay, whatever action I'm doing on whatever in checkbox or text box, they all are objects in the tool. So it's training, login. Okay, so at this point I'm good. So I'm going to close this. And I'm going to click on save. Okay, so remember on the left side, I interacted with 3 objects. So it captured all these 3 different objects with IDs and whatever properties it needs. Now it says where you want to store those objects. So it's object repository. That's where it will store it. It will store. Okay. So here I have 3 objects. I have object repository. Again, you can create the folders and stuff, but let's not get there right now. Let's just see what happens with this 3 objects. And I don't think I can see the properties until I save it, what these 3 objects are. Okay. So I'm just going to click on OK. Okay. So it created this folder on the left side. And if I expand this one, I see login. So I can see double click on it. I'm just double clicking on it. It says ID equals CTL 100 main content button login. So if I go on the browser now, let me open the Chrome browser. So we are talking about this button. right? So I'm right clicking, inspect. And this is CTL 100 main content button login. Okay, so whatever whatever action you are doing, it has to store in the tool and it goes in the object repository. Okay, so that's what this ID is. These objects are, that's where these definitions are stored in the tool. Okay, so you have two things. One is a test case, actual test case steps, which is under test cases and whatever test case you define. Second part is the definition of the objects that you are interacting with. That goes under the object repository section. You don't deal with this one manually. You do not modify anything here. Okay, it's all done by the tool for you. Okay, same thing. You have second one and 3 objects here. Okay, let's take a look at the test case closely. So we have open browser. I'm opening the browser, navigate to URL. This is the URL, set text. This is S training. This is set encrypted text. So what is set encrypted? It's a password, right? So I can't see what the password is here. But what I can do is you can change it. Okay, these steps, you can change different things. So I can double click on it, and there's, I don't know whether you can see it on the here. There is some box that shows up here. So you can click on it. It's a drop down. Okay, drop down. So I see if I click on it, so there are a bunch of these are nothing but built-in functions within the tool. Okay, so there are so many functions here, but let's check what is the important one. So set text, encrypted text, and set text. This is a plain text, just like input that you have it, right? So I can select this one, set text. And what I can do is now it's a plain text. I can just change it. Change this value to training. Because right now it's encrypted. So I can just click on it. Okay, make sure you have to click on it. You cannot just type it in here. Click on it. It pops up another window. It says text string, value type is string. And now I come here and I can click on it again to change the actual value. Then I can type it in. Just get familiar with the tool. Okay, how you can change the values, how you can operate it, and so forth. So now I just put in training here. Then click a login. Now these are pointing, as we know, these are pointing to 3 objects here, right? These are objects. As you guys can see it, this name is same as whatever is stored in the repository, so that it knows where to go and interact, what object to interact on the browser. So last step is click on a login. This is the object name. This is where it's point to the link here. Okay. And that's it. Finally, close browser. Okay. So that that's your script is done at this point. Make sure you save it. Now, important part, how do I execute it? Right now, I captured my script. How do I execute it? So that's where this run button comes in. Okay, so this is record. Once you record it, you can run it after the recording and see what happens. So now it will follow the scripts that you recorded, right? It says passed at this point. Okay. It takes about 3 seconds, but if you have to do manually, it might take you 5 minutes to execute the same thing. Save your time, right? That's why people invest in this type of tool. Saves time, free you up for other important tasks. Okay. And you want, because we close the browser window, let me just run it again so that you can see it. I'm just running it again. So it will open the browser window and so it just follows the same steps, right? When you execute it, points to these objects that you have, a login, input password, there's interaction with those controls. That's pretty much it with the script.
Whatever they're recording, using for the execution.
Yes.
time, right?
Yeah. That's how it works, right? This tools works similarly.
Yeah, so,
This tool is useful for regression.
Right.
Because you already have that working, and then you have to do that testing that you need to sort of work and everything.
Now, if your test starts failing, right? Let's say you are executing all these 500 test cases. Let's say you have 500 test cases because you're going to build it, right? Over 6 months, and you will end up with the 500 plus test cases automated. So if something changes in the software, you are running this on nightly basis, and if some tests will fail, like loan calculator one, right? If it gets you 60 instead of 30, then you will start noticing, hey, these things are failing. Something must have changed in the code without the required actual. Somebody must have introduced something new in the software. So that's how you will know. Otherwise, if you have to execute manual tests manually, all these 500 test cases daily, I mean, you're gonna need 10 people working on it. Just go ahead, Eric.
yeah, so I was saying, when you, let's say like you create test cases and everything. And like it's recording everything you're doing, but you mess up or something.
Yep.
And you log in and it records all that.
Yeah.
And does it affect the outcome?
Yes, it does. It does. So what Eric is talking about, I'm gonna get rid of it again. Now, a couple of ways you can do it. I can delete all these tabs. Click, select all and delete. It's all gone. You can delete this one if you want. If not, let me just wipe out clean, right? So now it's everything is gone. Okay. So I don't have anything here, right? On the left side, this is the only empty test case right now, nothing else. So I'm going back, recording. No, I want a clean session. Okay. So I have this, click record. And let's say I said test training, right? I just put a typo, right? And training, and I click login. And it says login failed. Now you connect it as training, login. Okay, at this point, I'm done. Close the browser, save script, click OK. So it's loading. All right, so I got all the script here, right? Now you need to, when after you record it, you want to make sure you record it correctly. Okay, because if you don't have written down manual test case, you won't be able to know. So here, if I go here, okay, open browser, navigate, I can navigate, this is fine, set text, test training, then I have set encrypted password, and log in, and then I see a bunch of garbage thing, right? So I need to, in order to correct my test case, I need to have these 3 steps only after navigate to URL. So if I run it right now, I mean, it will run, but you have a bunch of garbage steps that you don't need. Simply, what you can do is I can simply select those 4 steps because I know I made a mistake for password. I don't want it part of my test case. So I'm just going to select that and click on delete. So all the steps are gone. My script, okay, it matches with my manual test case here. And I'm going to save this. Okay. Now, one thing I don't have it is a closed browser. So what it will do is, if you don't have a closed browser, it will leave it open, whatever browser it open. So you can add that here. As I said, you can add the step here by clicking on add. So let's select this tab, click on add, web UI keyword. Okay, so there are different things here. Because we are dealing with web UI, we're gonna select web UI. Okay, so let's see what happens. So it added the step here. Okay, so this is adding the step. So whatever step is selected, it will add below it. Okay, so here I want a closed browser. I want to close browser. So I can click on this button here and see if I can find it. Close browser. Okay, that's all. So my script is modified. Now I'm modifying it a little bit to make it work. for me.
But it will not stay in the record.
No, it will stay. It will stay. Closing browser, these are actions. You can add that. Right.
You can add the test cases without running recording.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to run the recording. You can build it from scratch. And I'll show you that one as well. Okay, how you can do that without doing all this thing recording part.
After deleting all also recording will show that we have done mistake.
Can you repeat that?
And the recording, it will show the all mistakes also, whatever mistake.
Yeah. And if you click somewhere else, it will show it here. But you need to make sure your script is clean. So I'm comparing with again, you have to have manual test case, right? As we said, this you are recording on existing software. This test case. So you need to have software, working software, because regression is done on a working software. Right? Regression you are not doing on if you don't have software, you can't record your script. That's the difference between Ruby Cucumber and these things, okay? Ruby Cucumber, you can start building your script before you have a software. This type of tools, you have to have working software. Okay.
I have a question. It will record only the Katalon things, not like.
Because that's what your test case is about, right? You are saying instruction, you are putting in the instruction, you are saying go to this site. You are not saying go to Microsoft.com and record it, right?
No, it's my test cases are in other page, so I will move to the page to see what I did, what the password, and come back to the Katalon page. So it's not going to record that stuff, only the.
No. It will record whatever actions you are doing on the browser during recording. Okay. So if you go to some other page, come back, all the steps will be recorded. So that's why you want to follow your script. You have to have manual script written down. You want to only follow that. Otherwise, you have to delete out those steps later on. Okay. All right. So I have this test case again. Again, you can do set encrypted, right? Do whatever you want to set text. I'm going to change it. Again, how do you change it? Click on it. Again, click on it twice. And then training. Click OK. This point, my script is good. And I see these 4 objects now, right? Because I had some other password error type of thing. So I can delete that. If I don't need extra objects, I can delete the objects as well if I'm not using it. Okay. So that's done. And close this one. Again, if you close certain windows, you can double click on it and it will open up. Okay, so just don't panic, right? Just double click on it. Should be good. It's there somewhere there. All right, and if you want to run it, click on run, and it will run it for you. And generally, it takes about 2 seconds, 3 seconds to load the browser and then run it. Okay. All right. So it says passed here, right? But what did we miss in our steps? If I'm looking at my steps, and if I'm looking at this one, what am I missing? Can anybody spot it? Okay, I'm gonna little bit minimize it, and let's take a look at the step. So what am I missing? We are missing the important part.
Verification, that
Right. It's a verification step. We don't have it. I'm just following the step, click login, and then what? We did not implement the verification step here. Right, so that's what I'm missing, and it's very important. You tell the tool what to look for on the what you want to verify, because these are tools, these are dumb tools. Okay, whatever you tell them, that's what they will do. Okay, they don't have brain. You are building the brain behind it. Okay, so what I can do is I can again have to re-record my script first of all, unless you know how to fix your script. Okay, so I'm going to delete out all the steps, and I'm going to delete out from here let me leave this time. Okay, see, I think you will be fine, but I'm gonna leave it that. So I don't have any steps. I need to re-record my script. Okay, again goes here, record. Yes, training, login. Now in the UFT and other tools, it's all the tools, they capture the verification step differently. In the UFT, it is called checkpoints, where you can insert a checkpoint in your script. But this tool is very straightforward, very simple. So you just figure out what is that unique about it, and all we said we want to verify this admin homepage. So all you do is go to that particular box, it's highlighted, right click on it, and in the Chrome browser, you will have Katalon Studio. And you say what you want to verify. You want to verify text, you want to verify element visible, wait for these are waiting, so let's ignore them for now. But one of these things you can do it. So for now, we can say verify element text. If I say admin homepage, that means I'm going to pass my test case. So this is what I'm going to select. This one says verify element present. Is the element present on the page or not? That's what it will verify. Okay. Again, it's the same behavior, right? It says the text plus other properties, then it will validate it. It will say not present. You can do a kind of like a verify that element not present, and so forth.
They are the same.
Yeah, they are very similar, but they have different behavior. Not visible. So is it visible? Can I see it on the page? So it will look for. Remember, what are the properties of a HTML element? So visible is a one property. Text is also a second property. Then you have ID. All the elements have ID or the name, right? Certain elements you can click on it. Like links, you can click on it, or input text box, you can click on it. So depending on what you want to verify, if you are saying I need to make sure I cannot input in a text box, or it's a read only, then I'm going to use this read only or something else, clickable, not clickable, a different kind of properties. Most common one is verify element text, because this is something you want to, or present. These are the two common ones you will end up using.
Read only. An example would be
No, if you have a tag input box, and you want to say I cannot type it in the input text box, then it's a read only. But these are just simply the text, like welcome Charles. Yeah, so let me finish this one, because it might mess up the script, but then I'll also use that one. Okay. So let's come back here. So not present is a straightforward. If I don't see element on the screen, that means it's not present, right? At this point. Not verify clickable. Can I click on it? Is the click enabled for that? If it's a disable control, you cannot click on it. Okay. There are certain other things over there. But as I said, these two are most common properties, and here I'm going to use verify element text. Okay. So at this point, I'm done with my script. I'm going to close my browser, and I'm going to save the script. Okay, so now it says here, I see, because I already had something in the repository. Remember, I did not remove it from my home. So it says these three are highlighted red. What it says, highlighted objects already exist in the selected folder. Please choose an option below. Merge changes into existing objects, create duplicate objects, or replace existing objects. If you select merge changes into existing objects, it will it will basically override it, kind of like something similar to that. Or any changes are there, right? It will merge it into the whatever you had recorded earlier. These two are new ones, they don't have any issue. Okay. But these three, if you say create duplicate, it will create a brand new page here, and then it will dump the same controls into different page, whatever the object repository folder, and replace existing. That means this control will be replaced by whatever. Yep. This three ones. So I'm just going to say replace existing objects because they are the same objects. So you have to pick one. Okay, you have to pick one. So I'm just going to say replace existing object. Okay. And you can select the folder. This is what I want to put in the on the page homepage. All right. So now I'm here again. So let's see my script is clean or not. So I right click twice. So I have two things. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need this click, another different click. And right click admin homepage. I don't need that. Actually, click login, then verify text element, right? This is what I'm trying to do, and then close the browser. So my script looks clean. Again, I'm going to go and set, I'm going to click on it, go a little bit right, and set text. Okay, we'll come here, open window, another clicks, training.
We
Okay.
need to write down the password.
What do you mean write down the password? Here?
Yeah,
Well, you can leave it by default, whatever it is. But if you want to see, that's what I'm showing you. You can change it to set text. Otherwise, it's an encrypted password. So, yeah. Yeah, because you don't want people to see the password. So somebody opens your script, otherwise they will see it. Okay.
oh,
But if the users, during user acceptance testing, somebody should be able to see so they can, so then.
No, they will be given password, but they will not use this. You are as a QA, you will use this script.
Oh, so that's the back end.
Yeah, this is a bag of people who, they don't care about what you are running in the backend. They have their own user IDs, passwords, and everything. Another set of things. Yep. Okay, so at this point I'm done, and I'm going to save my script. Make sure you save it. Well, I think it will ask you. And I'm going to run my script and see if this one gives us the right result, right? Okay. Again, it takes a few seconds to launch a browser. Yep, it passed because we had the verification. Now our test case is much better, and with the verify element action, right? Any question on so far what we discussed? Okay, if not, I'll get you guys 30 minutes to create the test case. Then because there are other things I want to cover as well. Okay, so 30 minutes on this one. You can work through the same one. I don't want you to create anything else. Let's work through the same one. We'll come back, learn additional things, and then you will work through, and then there is one last thing as well. So that two more things. So 30 minutes for each. Okay. Any question online? Is everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So you guys know what to do now, right? As far as opening the tool, as well as working through it. Okay, I'm going to stop recording for a moment. Okay.